Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to another round of coffee and questions. What's today's topic? I'm going to talk about dealing with the pith, the center of the wood that creates all the cracking that everybody talks about and does happen on most all woods that I know of. And how do you do? It has a nub. This is the grain running this way, but there's a nub down in here that kind of sticks out at the very bottom, like when you're hollowing or maybe even when you're making a bowl. And so you can deal with it a couple of ways. Now I've got a big round nose scraper here, and I could easily reach in there, tilt it a little bit, and I could take that nub out. Okay, so that's one way. The other way that you can do it, if you have carbide cutting tools, I have this right here, and it has a carbide cutter on top. I can reach in there and touch that nub and just gently rock it up and down and wear it away real quickly, and then I just go to the left a little bit. Then you can go, if it's a bowl or a vessel or whatever you're doing, you can go in there and clean it up with a scraper and make that final transition. But to get rid of that nub in the center, you could use one of these. Now another way, if you have a hollowing rig that has a laser on there and you have like a teardrop cutter, you can set the teardrop cutter at a little bit of an angle and you can take that nub out that way too. I've done that, and I do that sometimes. But I was reading on one of the forums where somebody had taken a spade bit, and I thought, oh, I've got some spade bits here from 1 inch up to 2 inch, and I'm going to try what they did. So I took the spade bit. Let me put it in the chuck here and we'll zoom in. Now these are inexpensive hardened steel kind of spade bits. They were real cheap. I got these on Amazon, and let me show you the ad, and you can also get them at Harbor Freight. I'll show you both ads real quick. Okay, so I had these for a while, and what I did is I ground the tip off of it and I ground the wings off of it. Then I set like an angle on my grinder over there. I think it's like 35 or 40 degrees. It doesn't matter really to a large part. And I ground an edge on one side, and then I flipped it over and I ground an edge on the other side. And this part right here in the middle is incredibly sharp. You can feel it. I bring it up till this just touches the bottom, and I back it off just a little bit. Then I turn my lathe on. You don't have to go very fast. That's probably a couple hundred RPMs, 250, I don't know, somewhere in there. Then slowly, I start turning this. In there, and I move the tool rest because the bit's not long enough to reach all the way with the tool rest in the way. So we get rid of it, and I bring this thing up till it just touches. And there it's touching. Lock the tool rest. Okay, then I'm going to back it off. And you can see where it took out that nub. And I'll show it to you here in just a sec. I'll zoom in closer. And you can see where it got that nub out, and it actually made it round enough to where I don't need to worry about it. I could reach in there and sand it and go ahead and finish it out with some kind of a bowl scraper or whatever I want to do. Anyway, this is just another thought and another way that you might be able to get in there. Now you could use an extension off that Jacobs chuck and then attach that spade bit to it and go a lot deeper, but then you're going to need the tool rest, otherwise it's going to want to bounce around on you. As it was, I had to remove the tool rest because I couldn't get it deep enough, but I know I could get it deep enough if I didn't have the tool rest in the way. So I brought it into where it touched. I squirted a little bit of mineral spirits in there, and I turned the lathe on, and then I started cranking by hand very slowly, and I could hear it. And you only need just like about a crank, maybe less sometimes, to remove that nib. Okay, so if you have some old spade bits laying around like I did, this is 1 inch, you could actually do 1.5, 2 inch. They're inexpensive, you know, kind of throwaway kind of spade bits, I guess. Both you know, from Harbor Freight and Amazon, but if you're going to use them and they dull out and you don't want to sharpen them, you can always repurpose them. And so what I did is I just repurposed them into a scraping tool for here. And I do use these occasionally, but like I said, I also have a hollowing rig and other tools, so it just depends on the project. But it works. I think it's a good tip. Just wanted to... Okay, so now let's talk about controlling the pith. When I'm done turning it, now we've taken that nub out, and I showed you one way you could do that. My actual depth in here, when I measured it, is going to be right here. There's a real fine line. This is probably about 3/8 of an inch or so to the bottom. I'm going to take this off of the lathe, but I'm going to leave it in the chuck. Now, because it's going to be, like I said, about 3/8 of an inch or so here at the bottom, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put CA glue. Now I use Star Bond or Stick Fast, and I just put a bunch of it right here in the bottom. Set it up. Yeah, make sure it coats the bottom down here real well, and I'm going to let that set up. And when I'm done, I'll part this off, and that little bit on the bottom, when I sanded the bottom, I'll use CA glue on the bottom also. So it's going to soak this way, and it'll soak when I work on the bottom from the bottom inward. That has worked for me in the past really well in controlling the cracking. So we got rid of the nub. We are going to use that CA glue because this was a big branch that's got the pith in the middle still, and that's the way that I do it. Then I hit it with steel wool. You can wax it. You can put multiple coats of CA glue on there. You can put shellac over it, lacquer, whatever you want, and finish it out. But it does control the cracking. I've got a couple of projects or more sitting around for years now, and there's no cracking, and the pith was right dead center, like on this project. So, okay, quick tip. I'm the home handyman. I hope you click subscribe, keep following me. You know a better way of doing it or another way, drop it in the comment below. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video, and you folks have a great day. Bye-bye.